So if we go back to January 20th, 2017, President Obama left his successor a personal note and stuck it in the drawer of the Resolute desk. And the last line of the note was, "Michelle and I wish you and Melania the very best as you embark on this great adventure, and know that we stand ready to help in any ways which we can. Good luck and Godspeed." With that, he left the Oval Office for the last time.
Morning, everybody. Morning, sir. Morning, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, guys.
He went and said goodbye to the household staff, butlers, ushers, groundskeepers, and Von Everett, who was one of the butlers and had been there since the Reagan years. Can imagine what it was like for him to have been there for the first African-American president. There's a tradition that the incoming president comes to the White House the morning before the inauguration for a reception. After everyone else had finally boarded the motorcade, President Obama took Trump aside to brief him on a pending national security issue. He escorted Trump to the limousine. They had to ride in the limousine to the Capitol together. The guy on the far left is Mike White. He was the head of the Presidential Protective Division of the Secret Service. And you always see the person in that position behind the president or behind the first lady. As they were leaving the podium, I now noticed that Mike White and his deputy were behind Trump and Melania and not behind President Obama. And that's when it really hit me that this for real had happened. You know, if I go back to January 20th, 2017, I'm ready for the job to be done because, you know, it just takes so much out of you physically and mentally. There was a sense of relief, almost excitement that I would not have a BlackBerry with me 24/7, 365 for 8 years anymore. You have no idea how good of a feeling it was to be done with that. But there was a sense of disbelief and worry. And I really was concerned for the country. To this day, I have that same feeling. I'm not literally in the room anymore, but I know what happens in the room. And that's what scares me about what's happening today in the Oval Office. After I left the White House, I started this personal Instagram account. My intention was to highlight some of the photographs that I had made throughout my career. I never intended to be vocal in any way about what was going on.
So the first day he came to me with his photo that he wanted to post on Instagram with the president sitting on the Resolute desk and the red curtains, and he wrote a caption something like, "I like the old curtains better. What did you think?" And I said, "You can't say that," because he had spent 8 years having no voice and no opinion of what was going on, and suddenly here's an opinion about drapes. And I said, you can't do that.
Now, what I didn't tell you is I had just seen a picture of the redecorated Oval Office with these gold ornate curtains. And there was even a comment on that very first post from somebody that said, Pete is dropping shade with a comment on drapes. And I have to admit, I had no idea what dropping shade meant. I knew what I was doing, I just didn't know it was called dropping or throwing shade.
Question. The President-elect, can you give us a question? Don't be attacking us. Can you give us a question? Don't be. Can you give us a question? When you report fake news, which CNN does a lot, you are the enemy of the people. Go ahead.
Mr. President.
Hi, Pete. Welcome to India.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
Is there hope for photojournalism?
I think there's a lot of people doing a lot of great work, but it doesn't help when the President of the United States calls journalists fake news and the enemy of the people. I think that's really dangerous. I think our president is causing grave damage to the institution of the free press.
We have with us the former chief official White House photographer for the U.S. Presidents Ronald Reagan and Barack Obama. Please welcome to the stage, Pete Joseph Souza.
I want to ask you, as a photojournalist, your commitment while photographing is to the truth. But when you're the chief White House photographer, when you're consciously or subconsciously building a public image of brand Obama, was there ever a conflict?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I often say to people, though my background is a photojournalist, certainly when you're the chief White House photographer, you're working for the government. But so I didn't ever think of it as a conflict because I wasn't a PR photographer. I look at myself as a historian with a camera. The job as the chief official White House photographer is to visually document the presidency for history. So when inauguration rolled around, I had in the back of my mind, for the journey I was about to take, this thought: make authentic photographs. Think mood, emotion, context. Be ready for the fleeting moments, both big and small. My goal was to create the best photographic archive of a president that had ever been done. Lasting images for history. The origination of my office was a military office during the Kennedy administration. LBJ wanted somebody to cover everything, and he hired this guy named Yoshi Okamoto, who had traveled with him as vice president. And, you know, Johnson was such a character, and Okamoto was such a great photographer that his pictures are just amazing. You know, more than anyone, his work was the kind of work that I wanted to do. I wanted the level of access that Okamoto had to Johnson. That's sort of what I was striving for with Obama.